Hello and welcome to my channel, and if this is your first time here, my name is Millie, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the Kaleidos Escape Pod eyeshadow palette as well as the Tone Activator eyeshadow primer. And I did also get some brushes, which I guess I'll just include in here even though they're not new, but I'll just include them in this video anyway because I did use them for all 4 looks. This collection in general is just so exciting and so beautifully done. I really love the entire concept of it, and especially the palette. They did also come out with some blush and highlighter duos, other highlighters, and I think there was like sponges and something else, so I wasn't really interested in those, but I did pick up the palette because it is so cool. Just the packaging, they always have the coolest packaging with different textures on it. I've only tried one other palette from them. It's the Electric Turquoise palette, I think it is. And then this is what the inside looks like. It's just such a fun little color story. I love all the purples and pinks. Something I did run into when I was creating the looks is that I wish there was one deeper shade. I know there's this deep brown, but I think it would have been really nice to have maybe like a deep blue or deep purple in here. I felt like I kind of got very similar depth looks with this, which is why I ended up doing 2 halo eyes. It felt like there wasn't enough for me to use to deepen up, and you know I usually like to do 4 totally different looks, so to repeat a halo eye twice. But the shimmers, you can even tell just from the pan that they're going to be super high shine, very beautiful. They are a little bit textured. They're not like smooth metallic. Some of them are a little chunkier, but they don't look chunky on the lid, which is something I love because I hate when chunky eyeshadows accentuate the texture on my lids, especially with hooded eyes. And so the next is the eyeshadow primer, and I gotta say it's definitely not the perfect shade. It does blend out a little bit, but it's also a little orangey, and I will kind of get into that in the end when I give you guys a review. You can see it's not perfect for sure, but it does blend out. And then I also finally picked up the brush set that they carry. Again, this is not new, but it is new to me, so I was really excited to try it out because I have heard a lot of good things about these brushes, and I'm super picky, so that's why I waited so long to get them. But let's get into the 4 looks, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end of the video. So for the first look, I'm priming with the Tone Activator from Kaleidos, trying it out with the eyeshadow, and I didn't set it. In the crease, I'm going in with Carnival first. Now this shade kind of stuck down and didn't quite want to blend out, so I had to keep packing it on and really work it through to get it to blend out and keep packing it on. Then I'm going in with Terrace, and I'm putting that on the inner corner and the outer corner, and just blending it up into Carnival a little bit and leaving a space in the center because it's going to be a halo eye. And I'm also connecting Terrace with my lower lash line and adding Carnival as well. Then I'm putting down some NYX glitter primer on the lid, and I like to tap it out just to make sure that the edges are not going to be harsh and make sure that I didn't apply too much. And I'm going in with Galactic Gala in the center, and this applied really nicely. And then for the waterline, I'm using the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Icebreaker. For the second look, I primed with the Tone Activator again, and I first went in Tango on the inner third of my lid, and then I blended into it Flamingo in the center of my crease. And then I went in with Mardi Gras, and I blended that right next to Flamingo. And this shade, again, it's stuck down, and I really had to try to blend it out, and I kept having to add more on, trying to blend it out, but I really like to stick down. And then lastly, on the outer crease there, I'm going in with Exoplanet, and this shade got a little patchy on me. I tried to pack more on, but it just didn't quite work. Then I'm going in with the NYX glitter primer all over my lid and tapping it out. Then on the center of my lid towards Exoplanet, I'm going in with Cosmic Cabaret, super beautiful and very metallic. And then on the inner lid, I'm going in with Amaretto. And I ended up taking Cosmic Cabaret and just putting it on the outer corner there to cover up the patchiness. And then to finish off my lower lash line, I connected Exoplanet and Flamingo and Tango, and then I highlighted my inner corner with Starlight Sonata. For the third look, I decided to go in with the ABH primer, and I very lightly set it to avoid any sticking down that I've been experiencing with this eyeshadow. And also the reason I wanted to use the ABH primer is because it's much more neutral and much lighter, and I felt like the shades were muddying up just a little bit on the Tone Activator because it is tinted a little green. And in the crease, I'm going in with Soiree. And this shade is pretty pastel and soft, so I had to build it up a little bit. And then I'm creating a wing with Mardi Gras, and I ended up winging it out a bit too much, but that's okay. If you want a full step-by-step tutorial on how I do this wing, I have it up on my channel. And then I went in with Space Oasis, and I wanted to see how it applied dry first, and it was not really great, very sheer, just a very light sparkle. So I went in with the NYX Glitter Primer and then went back in with Space Oasis and had much better luck that way. And I'm going in with Mardi Gras on the lower lash line to connect it with the wing. For the last look, I've already primed with the ABH primer and lightly set it, and I'm first going in with Tango, and it's gonna be on the inner third of my lid and my crease, and then going in with Flamingo on the outer crease and blending it up. I definitely saw a huge difference in the way that the mattes performed on a set base. They didn't seem to stick down like they did when I did not set the base. And then in the center, I'm leaving it blank because I'm going in with the NYX Glitter Primer. And then right on top of it, I'm going in with Starlight Sonata. And I connected my lower lash line with Flamingo. I actually accidentally dipped into Tango. And then for the lash line, I'm going in with the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Extra Frosting. And this is the fourth and last finished look. So those are the 4 looks that I created. I definitely feel like I could create 4 more, 5 more, so many more. I feel really inspired by this color story, and the shimmers are just so beautiful. I think they're probably my favorite part. The mattes, on the other hand, I did experience a little bit of patchiness with the purple, which seems to be on par with other people. And I think in part it had to do with the fact that I was putting it on a tackier base, which was their Tone Activator. And I just felt like the mattes were really not the greatest for using it without setting it a little bit. They just like to really stick down, and then they didn't want to budge, and I had to really try to blend for the first 2 looks where I used the Tone Activator. And then for the other 2 looks, I decided to use the ABH primer, and I did just very lightly set it the first time with one of the eyeshadows from the palette, and then the second time with a translucent powder from ColourPop. And I gotta say that the mattes definitely perform so much better on a set base, so I would recommend that to you if you're going to be picking up this palette. Speaking of the eyeshadow primer or eyeshadow base, I like it. The shade is definitely not perfect, but I do love that when I put it on my lid, it didn't look dry like the ABH primer. It just really made my lids look super smooth, and it did cancel out my veins on my lid, which is what I definitely look for in a primer. However, I don't think that it works the best on set with these mattes from this palette. So I would like to test out the Tone Activator with some of my other eyeshadows. Also, I did want to mention that partially the reason that I switched to the ABH primer for the second 2 looks was because I felt like the brighter shades did muddy up just a tiny bit, and I think it's because the shade of the Tone Activator is just orangey. So I think that orangey tinge kind of interferes with the bright colors, and I like to see the exact color that's in the pan on my lids. So that's why I went in with the ABH primer, because that one is pretty neutral and it's just really light. So bright colors really show up true to shade on the ABH primer. Now just quickly onto the brushes. This brush here, it doesn't have a number. Oh yes, it does. S1. This one right here, it's way too big. This is like basically like the size of my lid. So definitely not great for hooded eyes, but I do like it for setting the lid just a little bit, which is what I use that for, which I don't mind having larger brushes for that purpose. This brush S3, I did not get a chance to use it. It's a little bit on the larger side for my liking, but also it's a little flat, and I don't really use brushes in this style anyway, so I'll have to try it out and see kind of what it's best for. Then the brush S2, a little larger again for my taste, but pretty good. I think this is on the larger side of what I like, but I really love this. I think it blended shadows so easily. Really enjoyed that one. And then the next one is the S4, which is basically just a shader flat brush, and I absolutely love this. I love how long it is, and also it's a little on the smaller side in terms of just width. So I really love this for cutting the crease, and putting down the glitter primer as well as picking up the shimmers just worked really well. And then the last brush is the S5, which is this tiny cute little like almost pencil brush, and I loved using this one to do my lower lash line. It's so tiny and perfect. I love this one for that. So those are kind of my thoughts after using the palette for the 4 looks, and I cannot wait to play with it more. I'm really excited. I definitely would like to do some IG tutorials and just play with it a little bit more. I really feel like the 4 looks is just not enough. It's such a beautiful palette. I love the colors, I love the metallics. So that's everything for this video. I have a bunch of other 4 looks 1 palette up on my channel, and I have a playlist that I will link up on the screen in case you're interested in hanging out with me just a little bit longer. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.